I think she likes shocking people. And it's almost as if the more they laughed, the better it was when she got that acclaim. And she got it for that part.
For Silkwood, Cher received an Oscar nomination and a Golden Globe Award. Her next film, Mask, was another true life story. In it, she starred as Rusty Dennis, biker chick, drug addict, and single mom of a disfigured teenager, played by Eric Stoltz.
The qualities that Cher possesses, I think, were so well suited to that role. She's rebellious and tough and beautiful and strong and on the outskirts of society and has a huge heart and doesn't put up with from anyone.
You know, for 12 years I've been listening to you guys bull. First you told me that he was retarded, then you said he was going to be blind and deaf. Then you told me he'd never be able to do anything that regular kids could do. You know, if I had dug his grave every time one of you geniuses told me he was going to die, I'd be eating chop suey in China by now.
I remember Rusty Dennis being around a lot in rehearsals and on the set. And I think Rusty, quite rightfully so, was concerned that we bring this story to life in a way that wasn't trivializing her son's life.
She said something to me, and it was all I needed to know. And that was, I had a picture of her son, and it was in third or fourth grade. And she said, "You'll recognize him. He's the tallest one in the second row." I thought, that's what this mother sees, and that's what I have to see, and that's what this whole movie is about.
There are special schools with wonderful facilities that might be more appropriate for his needs.
Do you teach algebra and biology and English here?
Of course.
Those are his needs.
I remember Cher opening up her life, certainly to me, I think to a lot of people in the film, and even her house. I think I crashed at her mansion many times. She was into Egypt at that point. I don't know if she still is, but there were giant stone cats everywhere. And she was the most generous, big-hearted actress I've ever worked with.
The movie turned into an enormous box office hit, and she was considered a large reason for it, that she carried the film.
I should have gotten nominated, I think. But, you know, at the time, I dressed too strange, my boyfriends were too young, they had all kinds of ideas about why I wasn't right at the moment. But it was okay, and I went to the Oscars in the most ridiculously outlandish costume I've ever seen, and all my resentment was gone, and I felt perfect.
I was actually going to wear that outfit the next year to the Oscars. She was going to loan it to me.
She's a naughty girl. She likes to shock, and these events are sort of pretentious, and everybody gets carried away, and it's all very serious. She wins, she doesn't win, or she's just presenting. She's had a good time, and she's in every paper the next day. And for the next, you know, those pictures from those Academy Awards are printed 20 years later. They're still being printed.
She's inventive, she's outspoken. I think it always makes good press. She's fascinating. You don't know everything about her, but she's candid, and she's had a lot of younger men in her life. I guess that always makes good copy.
It's a societal thing. Guys will get a trophy wife or a trophy date, and they'll strut around, and you'll see a woman with someone that's younger, and they go, "Oh, isn't that sad?" You know. But I can go gather you up several million American males that would be real happy to put Cher on her arms and walk in anywhere.
Of particular fascination to the press was Rob Camilletti, a bartender Cher had met in 1986. 18 years her junior, the tabloids dubbed Rob Bagel Boy, a reference to a previous job he had prior to meeting Cher.
People like to label, and calling Robert a bagel boy was funny and simple. And the fact that he works selling bagels, it's not that unusual, but because it is the press and they catch a label, it's easy to go back to that label.
The low point came when Rob was accused of assaulting a member of the paparazzi.
I thought about driving past them, but then I thought, to hell with it, I'll just drive up fast, make a wide turn, and cut it quickly into the driveway so they wouldn't be able to get a picture of me.
You know, I'm usually pretty good about it. I'm starting to get really, really angry. You know, the other day I was close to hitting this guy myself.
Eventually, Cher's relationship with Rob was so scrutinized, and they were so battered by outside harassment, the two went their separate ways. Throughout the ordeal, their friendship endured, as did the support of Cher's fans.
think the public have such a love for her. They kind of overcome the basic problems that the tabloids would bring to somebody who is like a little fringy, you know. I think the major superstars can overcome that.
But Cher would have to overcome more than just her personal pain. There was the issue of her age and how it would affect her ability to find work. Even at the top of her game, she had to fight for a part in The Witches of Eastwick.
She was turning 40 that day. We were singing Happy Birthday to her with a cake. And as we were going into her room, happy birthday to you, she started crying hysterically because she was in the midst of being told that she wasn't sexy enough to appear in the film opposite Jack Nicholson with Michelle Pfeiffer and Susan Sarandon. And as we all know, she was way sexy enough.
You are physically repulsive, intellectually retarded, you're morally reprehensible, vulgar, insensitive, selfish, stupid. You have no taste, a lousy sense of humor, and you smell. You know, you're not even interesting enough to make me sick.
In addition to The Witches of Eastwick, Cher shot 2 other films in 1986. There was Suspect, the modestly successful thriller in which her co-star was Dennis Quaid. But Cher's biggest movie triumph would be a quaint little family comedy that she almost didn't make. In 1986, Cher was asked to star opposite Nicolas Cage in a film originally written for Sally Field. Cher was willing, but she was busy and barely had time for the shooting schedule.
I almost didn't do it because I had Witches of Eastwick and I had Suspect, and I had to cram it in between, which meant I just finished Witches one day, flew to New York, and started Moonstruck the next day.
Moonstruck, directed by Norman Jewison, depicted a dysfunctional Italian-American family. The cast was brilliant, but Cher was uncertain about where the project was going.
Rose. Rose.
Who's dead?
Nobody. Loretta's getting married.
Again? Johnny Camarera.
I don't like him.
You're not gonna marry him, Cosmo. Do you love him, Loretta?
No.
Good. When you love them, they drive you crazy, because they know they can.
We were talking about the film, and somebody said to her, what do you think? How do you think the film is going to go? And this is what she did.
You know, it's one thing to see the movie, but you open the script and hear, have me the big knife.
Bring me the big knife.
No, Ronnie.
Bring me the big knife. I'm gonna cut my throat.
I thought, boy, this is either going to be really sweet and good, or it's going to be the end of my newborn career.
And Cher found the role that I think a lot of people identify with her to this day, the sort of forthright, ethnic character.
Last night never happened, and I'm going to marry him, and you and I are going to take this to our coffins.
I can't do that.
Why not?
I'm in love with you.
Snap out of it!
If you look at her in some of those long shots, I mean, her whole person is, the motor's going, but in close-ups, of course, everything's in her eyes.
What seemed to be, if you read the script, the sort of over-the-top, sentimental, urban, almost sitcom-y drama just worked, whatever the magic was.
The magic that created the convincing family dynamic was achieved through some unconventional means, especially at the film's conclusion.
During the shooting of that last scene, there were real problems. At one point, Norman Jewison cleared the set, and he wanted a certain kind of bravura from Cher and Nicholas, and they were not at all convinced that that's the way to go. And there was a fight back and forth. So then at a certain point, Norman said, okay, let's shoot it, because there was enough stuff going on.
I can't marry you.
What?
If I marry you, my mother will die.
What the hell are you talking about? We're engaged.
Loretta, what are you talking
I'm
about?
talking about a promise, okay? He proposed.
Because my mother was dying, and now she's not. Oh, Johnny, you're 42 years old. She's still running your life. And you are a son who doesn't love his mother.
You are a big liar, okay? Because I have a ring right here.
Oh, I must ask for that back.
You know, all right, the engagement is off.
In time, you will see that this is the best thing.
In time, you'll drop dead, and I'll come to your funeral in a red dress.